Well, hello. I want to welcome you to my small town. This is one of those driving videos that I do from time to time where I either share research that I have collected, or I talk about a location, or I do some weird random combination of both. This is not my typical fountain pen video, so if you've subscribed to this channel for the fountain pen videos, this may not be for you, but it may be a little insight into, for better or for worse, into the person, Wasky Squirrel, who records those fountain pen videos that you usually watch. So what I'm doing here, I actually have collected footage from two different dash cams. I was given a dash cam at Christmas. This isn't it. This is my old dash cam. I drove all the way out to a local hardware store to collect some stuff for Science Olympiad, and then I drove to the post office, and then I had trouble with the files, so the footage ends there. And then I will insert footage from the new dash cam. So, it must be serendipity that I was given this new dash cam, because I am having a lot of trouble with this old one. It's one of the reasons, though not the only reason, why you have not seen too many driving videos from me lately. I've also been extremely busy with my job, and just, the type of narration I usually do with these driving videos, it's just hard to find time to research it and put it together. So I'm driving here north on Highway 85, which runs through my town, and headed out to a locally owned hardware / building supply store. I needed to pick up some stuff for Science Olympiad, which I am the local coach, and there's a lot of stuff that if I would have walked out there, which I will walk out to the store happily, but I would not have walked back happily with all the stuff I bought, because, my arms would have fallen off from exhaustion. It was a lot of heavy stuff, including a 50-pound bag of sand. So, I took the car out. This overpass here goes over the railroad. BNSF, if you're interested, Burlington Northern Santa Fe. And, up ahead you see the Twin Buttes, which is a way to identify my town. If you're ever on White Butte, North Dakota, which is the highest point in North Dakota, and look kind of southwest, you'll see Twin Buttes, and that's how you recognize my town, because it's on the other side of them. So, you can see my town from the highest point in North Dakota, which is kind of cool. I mean, we're up very high here relative to the rest of the state. I mean, it's North Dakota. It's not going to be mountainous or anything, but it's pretty high. So, here I am at the local building supply store. You'll even get to see me come out carrying some of the stuff that I purchased. So, then I pulled around back and got the rest of the stuff loaded in my trunk. So I edited out some footage. Actually, I let the car run here because I have not been out of my town since before Christmas. Definitely getting a little cabin fevery, but the other thing is the car hasn't really run. So I just let it run while I was in the store. Well, it's a small town. You can get away with that here. I wouldn't try that in a Fargo or Bismarck, especially in Bismarck, because you get ticketed if you try that in Bismarck. I did it here because just get those fluids around. The worst thing you can do for your car is a bunch of short trips. So I pulled around the back here to pick up the rest of the stuff, like the 50-pound bag of sand and some of the wood and so on. They actually had to deliver some of the wood to the school because we just couldn't get it into my Camry no matter how we turned it. I did a 3-point turn here because I just, looking ahead there, I thought, I don't think Camry's going to go through some of that up there to get to the road. But anyway, I always try to support local businesses, especially locally owned businesses, first. My weird fountain pen habit, of course, I can't support locally. It's just how it is. But for a lot of other things I can. We're actually lucky here to have a pretty thriving business section, even if it's not quite the kind of business section I would like it to have. So, through the magic of video editing, I cut that short. Cut a lot of video out of there. But anyway, headed back out onto Highway 85 here. You can see the grain elevator there to your right. That's one of those features of North Dakota that you'll see in just about every town you visit in North Dakota. My mother, she does some painting and art and stuff, she's always tried to get a photograph of the grain elevator in every town that I've lived in, and she just kind of is taken by grain elevators. She lives in Pennsylvania. When I think about it, I guess grain elevators really aren't a thing in Pennsylvania, so maybe that's why she's so taken with them. So here I am, headed back across the overpass over the railroad. There to your left is the grocery store that's still in town. Also has fuel at usually the lowest price in town, so I will usually try to buy my fuel there, in part to support them, because I want the grocery store to stay there, darn it. And, partly because it is usually the lowest price. To your left, part of the Ford dealership. To your right, you can't see it. That was the entrance to my dentist office, though. I'm going to turn here. This is, it's still a frequent walk of mine. The green building to your left is the back part of the movie theater. The white building to your right used to be our second in-town grocery store, but this is the one that moved out of town, so it's sitting there empty right now. So if you'd like to open a grocery store, I would love that. I would almost boycott the one out of town, except they do sell a lot of stuff that I buy that's not sold in the one that's still in town, so yeah. These are some various local businesses or locally owned buildings anyway. But there's the post office up ahead with the 3 lights on it. I will park there, get out of the car, and then that's where the files got corrupted, which has been a growing problem with this dash cam. So I suppose when you buy a $20 dash cam, that's the kind of thing that you get. It's been a good dash cam though, 720p. The new one is 1080p. So even if you like the old one better, I'm probably going to switch to the new one just because it doesn't corrupt files. I mean, hey! So here's the new dash cam. Headed out on the street. This one I was trying out the camera, and kind of like I did with the old one I first got, I kept adjusting it, so you'll see me doing that a lot. That's why I didn't put my driveway footage, because it was all catterwampus. Anyway, but I thought, I toured around the town. Now this was filmed somewhat later. No, it was not filmed January 1st of 2015. This was filmed in February sometime after a significant snowstorm. Also a lot colder in this video. Temperature in this video is right around the single digits. I don't remember exactly, because I don't remember exactly what weekend I filmed this, but yeah. We're headed toward the school here, so there's some outbuildings for the school. They keep school buses and tractors and stuff. Up on the hill is the elementary school. Behind the fence is the playground. Straight ahead the middle school. And to your right you can barely see the high school, which is where I teach. What am I going to say? So high school there. My classroom is around the other side, which I will pass. I actually have filmed a tour of this building, which you can't see yet. For various reasons, due to small town culture, I have not uploaded my tour yet because it includes some footage of my classroom, which for reasons related to local drama, I'm not ready to upload yet. When the local drama dies down, I will upload it. I don't want to bore you with small town details, but yeah, my classroom is along that wall there. This is the gym. And of course, in the first draft, I went on to describe exactly that drama. So in this version, I will excise that portion. Driving up here, this will kind of give you a little bit of a residential area. I'll just point this out because the way the snow is plowed here is a bit different from what you're going to see on the main street. And as far as, see that car buried there. They avoid that on Main Street. Truck. I guess it's a truck. Anyway, I will just say as far as the drama goes, people love drama. I don't care if you're in a small town or a big town. They like drama, and whatever they can do to create drama, they'll create it. And This is one of those cases where I can say with a clear conscience, I was not part of the drama. So, if you want to know more about it, don't ask me, because I'm trying to kill that little piece of drama. So, here is the new hospital. We'll talk about happier topics. This is the local hospital. New hospital. They moved from a much older location. When I say much older, I mean picture some of those film noir videos where you see inside hospitals in the 1940s and 50s. That kind of building. Very old building. Very hard to update. I think it could have been updated. I think, honestly, the main reason they moved wasn't so much to get an updated building as it was to put everything on one campus. Which makes sense also. Because the nursing home is there and so on. So, anyway, pretty nice hospital. So we have a hospital, and, with our location, kind of makes sense, because if we don't have a hospital, it is a long hike to the nearest hospital. So I'm just continuing down, I don't even remember the name of this street, but whatever street it is. I forgot about that house. See the pretty green house up there? I just really like brightly colored houses, and that's not the color of my house, but it's kind of the same idea, just a bright green. I love seeing my house in the winter with its frosty margarita paint. And so that's another one. And, look at the houses in this town as you drive around. They're all boring and dark and dingy. And so the really brightly colored houses really stand out. I don't know, there's something about North Dakota. They just don't like brightly colored houses. And, look at some of these places like Florida and some of these more tropical countries that are brightly colored houses. And why can't we have... There's another one. Why can't we have more brightly colored houses here in North Dakota? So, little personal opinion there for whatever it's worth, which is probably nothing. But you can see there's more snow on the ground here. We'd had a lot more snow since the last video. We've actually had even more snow since this was filmed. I mean, I shoveled something out of my driveway today and the day before and the day before that. So, yeah. You're looking north toward the Twin Buttes that I mentioned earlier, also toward that building supply store. You might see the green there. That's the baseball diamond, where kind of across the street from that store I was at. There's the overpass there on your left that goes over the BNSF Railroad. On your right there, the brick building that you see is the courthouse. That's actually the jail/sheriff's department part. Pretty new courthouse. I guess there used to be an old-fashioned kind of courthouse, but it got to be to the point that they couldn't really renovate it anymore. It was time to just build new. Because a lot of buildings, people got attached, they're historical and so on, but it turns out that, it was a badly made building in its era, and it can't really be replaced. The White House there on your right used to be red and used to be abandoned, and I used to think, wow, I wish somebody would buy that and fix it up, because I didn't have the money or skills to do that. And somebody finally did, so good for them. Pulling straight ahead here, that truck and trailer are going on Highway 85, going over the overpass there. So you'll see the awning on the gas pumps at the grocery store that's still in town. I didn't stop at that grocery store this time. Pulling straight ahead, we're about to answer the question, what do you do with snow in a small town or big town? And if you look on your left, seems they pile it in heaps on Main Street. And I'll tell you why. Out on the highway or on the regular streets, you just plow it to the side into people's yards. But on a main street like this, you plow it to the side, it's in where people need to park to shop. I mean, you're saying there's nobody shopping there. Well, it's because it's Saturday afternoon, all the businesses are closed. But anyway, they can't plow it to the side, they can't plow it onto the sidewalks, so they heap it, like you see there in front of the Ford dealer. And then as they have time, the city comes in and moves the snow out to the fairgrounds where it melts by the time the fair happens. And that's what they do with it. And it makes sense. I mean, really, what else are you going to do with it? I lived in one town where they would just pile it in the middle of the street, and that was that. But mostly this is what I've seen towns do. So we were down this street with the other dash cam. This is me heading toward the post office again. Because, I mean, if I'm in my car, I might as well hit that. This time I wasn't buying stuff for Science Olympiad. I was basically running the car. I needed groceries, and I'd already walked to the other grocery store and bought what I could there. But I needed groceries they didn't sell, so I had to go to the one that's on the outskirts of town, which you'll see in a minute. Straight ahead there in the Quonset, you'll see that's a auto body shop. There's me. I thought there was something wrong with the dash cam. As it turns out, there's not. Although I did edit a significant portion of footage out there because I had to wait in the post office while they figured out an international package which contained a fountain pen. But anyway, furniture store there in the white building. On the right, on the left is a lawyer, and you can't see it, but beyond the lawyer is the library. That used to be a steakhouse, and then straight ahead, the brown building there is our museum, which if you visit my town, that museum is worth visiting. This yellowish tan building is also part of the museum. Again, very worth visiting. They have quite an impressive set of exhibits. I'm headed toward the eastern border of the town. This is one of the lower parts of town. Some of the houses in this part of the town don't even have a basement just because the water table's higher here. There on your right, that's an apartment building that's new since I moved here. It would have been nice if it had been here when I moved here. It would have been nice to move into an apartment and then have time to look around and figure out where I wanted to live. But, such was life when I moved here. It didn't exist yet. So it turned out okay. It just, apartments are nice for people either living temporarily or maybe moving to an area and looking for where to live. So this is the easternmost street in the town. Behind these houses is a field where they farm various whatever. It could someday be filled up with more houses or else with stores. The grocery store, hardware store, and department store that used to be on Main Street are now out in that field. But there's still a lot of field there behind these houses, so it's a town of 1,500. We're actually, as much as I complain about businesses moving off of Main Street, we've only lost really a few businesses overall. They're just not as convenient for people like me that walk. And in North Dakota, a lot of people don't walk. In fact, there's a certain segment of the population that thinks there's something wrong with you if you walk everywhere. There's a certain segment of the population that'll look at your grocery cart and criticize what you're buying because it's too many vegetables and not enough meat, for whatever that's worth and whatever business it is of theirs. But anyway, so I will walk out to this grocery store when the weather's nicer. I don't do it as much when the weather is single digits because, the main reason to walk to this grocery store would be the fresh fruits and vegetables that they sell that the other one just doesn't have. And they're not so fresh and nice when you get them back to the house in single digit winter weather because they freeze, even in an insulated bag. So, if I go out to this one, I usually drive, and then I have to let the car run because I don't drive it much, and like I said, those short trips aren't very good for a car anyway. Also, you see the red sign, that's the hardware store that used to be on Main Street. Now I get my hair cut in what was the hardware store. We also used to have a clothing store on Main Street and a Western clothing store, both of which I would shop at. The Western clothing store is where I bought my winter coat. Also, I would get shoes repaired there. It is closed now. The regular clothing store, half of it reopened, but it's only women's clothing, and that's just not my lifestyle. So, it doesn't do me much good. So, yay. I will say that this hardware store has a much better selection than what was on Main Street because they have a bigger location. They are owned by a company in Bismarck, but I can't walk to it as easily. Same thing with the grocery store. It's owned by a company, I think, located in Beulah. They've brought a lot more professionalism than existed in this business before. That was visible even before the new location. But I can't walk to it anymore. And to me, walking was a major deal. So, yeah. So I guess I didn't edit it out as much of the parked footage as I thought I did. If this doesn't end soon, I think I'm going to press stop and edit out some of this parked footage because, wow, I really do not... Okay, there we go. I was about ready to say, I really do... If I finished that sentence, I was going to stop it. So, yeah. That said, this is a very nice grocery store, and I'm one of the people that appreciates the professionalism they brought. Even if it wasn't appreciated by some of the people who worked locally, who were used to the small town attitude, that got away with a lot of things that maybe they shouldn't have. Up there, this other building is a department store. When I moved here, it was called Duck Walls. It was on Main Street. Moved out here, it was called Alco. Alco has been bought up. It's now called Shopco. So, at least we have it. You can get... think of it as like a low-cost Walmart. So my town, 1,500 people, but we are actually pretty lucky because we're in such a remote location that we have a lot more businesses than a town our size would normally have. Also, people from a lot of the rural areas and smaller towns around us for quite a wide area actually come over here to shop because the variety we have to offer. And I hate to say it, but these businesses here on this highway actually attract a lot of them, even though I wish they were on Main Street. But that's a little bit of a selfish thing where, like I said, I like to walk to everything. When I moved to this town, I could walk to everything, and now I can't, and I don't like that. We have a John Deere dealership and a Case IH dealership. If you're into agricultural machinery, we're going past, obviously, the John Deere dealership here. There's a campground here west of town. I will turn here before we get to it, but there's an airport up ahead here. There's also another business, kind of like the Woodleys I stopped at when I was still on the other dash cam, right where I turn. I don't go to this business as often, mostly because it is not located in town, and for some reason they're closed on Saturdays. Which, with my job, that's the day I can get out to shop. So I have bought some of the trim in my house here and a couple other minor things, but I buy a lot more at Woodley's than I do here. So this street is just kind of a random street heading north. I just, like I said, I was trying out the dash cam and wanted to give it a workout because I thought there was something wrong with it. Now I'll tell you what was wrong with it is somehow the lens, the camera part, and the screen were not communicating well because it kept flashing to white. I don't know why, but I've not seen it yet on this footage. So whatever the problem is with the screen, not with the camera, for whatever that's worth. Now this is about the time when I normally would wind one of these driving videos up. I learned that a lot of them work better with just a 30-minute time span. This is going to be a little longer than 30 minutes, but it is what it is. Out here, I don't know that these homes are considered to be within city limits. They're not exactly agricultural, so I don't know how exactly they classify. It's very rare that I actually drive up this road. I know very little about it. I know of one person who lives here. I don't know who the people are in all the other houses. So since one of my goals has been to make driving videos less boring, intelligent I edited out a bunch of footage. There's the old hospital. One part of it, not the part you see, there it is. This low part is now a dentist's office. So that part has been bought up. The rest of it, the fate is unknown. Who knows who will buy it. So I turned here, headed toward my house. So yeah, there's the dentist clinic there on your right. In the parking lot of the old hospital, that is a preschool / daycare thing. And then this brown house is the Lutheran parsonage and the Lutheran church behind it. You can't really make out from the footage. Parking lot of the Lutheran church, which if you were to visit it today, those two piles there have tunnels in them dug by local kids. And the piles are a lot bigger as well. So that's kind of cool. Oh, there's a bright yellow house in my neighborhood. I like that. And yeah, so I hope this was interesting. Just to get a look around what a small town of 1,500 in North Dakota looks like. There's my house, the pretty green one. And just to get an idea what it's like living near the edge of the earth, because we like to say we're not at the edge of the earth, but you can see it from here. So we're back to almost to where I started. That's the house you saw in the beginning of the new footage. So let me know what you think of the two dash cams. And remember, this is not my typical fountain pen video. This is just sort of a extra something I do from time to time. Call them driving videos, where usually I share research or else I share footage of a unique location for whatever reason. So thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.